Hello, everyone. Hello, the Netherlands, and also I hear a portion of Belgium is behind the screens. Great to be in front of you and give a little bit of a inspiration for you to take Estonia into consideration. I hope that a couple of photos only work instead of a real experience, especially considering that it's a lovely, lovely autumn at the moment. Right now, I'm looking outside at very sunny weather again. We even ourselves can't believe it, but it's too bad you cannot witness it. Also, there is with me today 24 Estonian partners. Some of them destinations we will be covering in the presentation, but also companies that are eagerly waiting for the meetings to start afterwards. And price descriptions are in the end of the presentation that will be shared with you after the event. And also my colleague is standby in the chat under the name of Visit Estonia. So if there's a question, she could answer it because I cannot check the chat at the same time. And in addition to the bigger prizes, I would like to mention also two other prizes that we will give out today. One is 2 nights in a lovely Tallinn Center Swiss hotel, high-rise building with really lovely rooms and several restaurants. And the other one is 1 night in one of the unique hotels of your choice. So there's a possibility to meet them afterwards also. Let's go to the tour of Estonia. We can't get past this unfortunate COVID update, but this presentation today is more for dreaming and planning ahead, and not entirely meant for coming right away tomorrow. But if you would like, then orange code is meant for Estonia in your countries, but our government puts you in quarantine at this moment. But I'm sure they will change their mind soon. In Estonia, it's really safe. It's a lot of room for ourselves, so there's space for everyone, and the medical care is really on a good standard. The capacity has never been exceeded during Corona times. And restaurants and attractions are mainly all open with only some limitations, but most of all still working almost as normal. So who are we Estonians and the Estonia? It is a very small country with a very small language, so to say, but a difficult one to master. We are a bit bigger than the Netherlands, but only 1.4 million, 1.3 million people. So it means it's actually good news for the Estonians, because we are, like the rest of the Nordic people, also a bit reserved. We like our space, so it's a good thing. And we are not only a singing nation, as we call ourselves, but also a very digital society. There are only a couple of things that our state hasn't provided us digitally that you can't do. For example, getting married and divorced and selling real estate. The rest you can do online. Connections with Amsterdam and Brussels are really good. Of course, the frequencies will start more after the COVID has died down, but Air Baltic is flying directly, and there are ferries from neighboring countries. And I would really have to say that it's a real pity that the airport that we have is really cozy and compact and visitor friendly, but it's been standing really empty last few months. So I hope it will change. And also here are mentioned a couple of ferry connections, and you can fly to our islands also from Tallinn. So that the link here is to check it out later. And our good partner Air Baltic, who is also with us today, and gave out kindly 2 return tickets from Brussels to Tallinn. And they actually celebrate their 25th years already. So it's a long-standing company, and we have direct flights with Amsterdam, so every basically daily, and from Brussels 3 times a week. And by Aviareps, it is represented in the Benelux countries, so feel free to turn to them as well. The hub is Riga, but I'm really glad that also they have direct connections with Tallinn, from Tallinn as well. And last year was in Estonia really a record year for tourism. That all changed, of course, but as a matter of fact, from the Netherlands and from Belgium, there were not that many people coming to Estonia. So it's a bit of like a secret tip. So from the Netherlands, there was a bit over 28,000 people coming. So when you recommend us to your clients or arrive yourself, then it's quite certain that you wouldn't meet your neighbors walking the Tallinn streets. But the map is about a little bit where we are going with our tour today. So to say generally, the west side is mostly for the islands in the coastal life, like Haapsalu, towns Haapsalu and Pärnu. And we are hopping on to South Estonia also a little bit in the presentation. There are some things that you might not expect from Estonia, and I don't want to spoil the surprise, but I still mention a couple of things that you can be prepared a little bit. There is so much to experience that we even have extra season for it, the 5th season, but in fact it's when the snow melts and it floods the forest, especially in Soomaa National Park, and you can glide on the water on a boat, in the forest on a boat. Then there is the frozen water road, which is in translation ice road, and you basically, when the sea has been frozen enough time, the government officially opens the roads on the ice from the mainland to the islands, and that is a very surreal experience to do. You can time travel in Tallinn from Soviet to medieval, from ancient to ultra modern, from startup scene to medieval restaurant. So it's very diverse. And a very interesting thing in the Setsa culture that I will talk about later is that once you go there and visit them, you can put on and try one of their jewelry, piles of jewelry that they have. You don't expect to be a couple of kilos of silver on you. And for those of you who really like their sunsets, these days really don't end in the end of June when it's the midsummer festivities, and you can pack a lot of things into your 24 hours. And I mentioned us being a digital nation, but still we really cherish our nature, and we use it, we feel connected to it. So for us, it's really natural. We go to be born again there, we go to confess there, we go to network there, and you name it. And we have a long-standing tradition about the relationship with nature. And we have a great national parks to do that. One of them being shown here, Soomaa National Park. The 5th season is pictured here, so just take any type of a boat and glide between the trees, or canoe or a kayak, or you name it. Another landscape type that we are really proud of, and every Estonian has a favorite walk to name when you ask. It's really beautiful in every season. You can either take just your city sneakers and go there on the wooden trails, or you borrow or make a tour with walk shoes, and you can then approach some areas that you can't go on foot. Anyway, it's really place to soothe and to relax. And if even when you don't plan to really hike the whole weekend long, then you don't really need special equipment for that. There's a picnic possibility by the lake, or why not even swim in the lake. It is really good for skin and hair also. The hiking trails cover a lot of kilometers in Estonia, and you can choose whether to go along the seaside or through the forest. It's totally up to you. And although I say that it is a hiker's paradise and a hiker's go-to place, the beginners are really welcome, and it's very easy to combine your city break with a bit of a nature walk as well. No hassle whatsoever. one very exclusive experience that you can take, and we also have a partner here with us who offers this tour, is bear watching. It makes, of course, very good Instagram photos, but this experience you certainly will not forget when you see those big guys really close up. You can also spot other animals before the bear arrives, but of course it needs a bit of a patience. I know it's not only yawning and waiting. It's still some patience is needed, and best to do it in May and September. We are a digital nation with a really colorful startup scene, and we consider ourselves modern and so on. But still, the everyday life, we carry our traditions and cultural background with us. On many occasions, the women like to wear their national dresses, and Estonians are really keen theater goers. And there's so many festivals and pop-up cafe days and many other things that you can do while being in Estonia. And the staple, of course, is the song festival. Every 5 years it takes place. Tens of thousands of people they sing under one roof, and when you are able to witness that, it doesn't matter that you don't really understand the language. The atmosphere will take you away, and even speaking about it gives me a little bit of goosebumps. The next one is on 2022 Youth Song Festival. So castles and manors are scattered all over Estonia. They're usually surrounded by beautiful nature, which means that you can easily combine your bit of a dive in history together with a nature tour. They are not only accommodations for different budgets, but also they offer tours and workshops and museums. And you can really go into the area that the house is built in and wine and dine in the aristocratic style. But like I mentioned, there are from luxurious to very basic, so for every budget. One culturally outstanding thing that also UNESCO has recognized is the Kihnu traditional lifestyle. 600 years they've kept it alive, and they wear those national costumes daily. We call it jokingly Women's Island because the men are at sea and women have to do many household chores, and they are mostly seen when you visit the island, which you can do from Pärnu, the town I will be speaking about a bit later. And there is even relationship status of some sort. The Kihnu women, they not only they show their emotions in different patterns and colors in their skirts, but also their relationship status. For example, when the apron is on, the woman is married. When the apron is off, the woman is not married. The photo here is taken by a world-famous photographer, Jimmy Nelson. And the jewelry I mentioned earlier is also seen on those women here. But Jimmy Nelson also had an exhibition in Tallinn recently, and he documents the ethnic groups all over the world. And we are lucky enough to be a part of that with our Seto culture. It's like uniting two worlds. They really keep their traditions alive, and they have even their small kingdom, and their singing tradition is again listed by UNESCO. In the same area, a very traditional and quirky thing to try is a smoke sauna. Sauna itself has been like a networking place for Estonians for centuries, but smoke sauna is really special with its rituals, whisking and all those aromas. So when done right, it takes 3 hours, but when you come out, you are really rejuvenated. But of course, we are not only about the bush and forest and small ethnic groups. It's also for the urban people of you. It's some cultural offering that we are really proud about. Tartu was chosen the cultural capital of Europe for 2024, and we could say that in a true sense they deserve it in every way. And They are among the Green Destinations Top 100 and also UNESCO City of Literature network. It is the oldest city in Baltics, and being a university town, they have very fun and energetic cultural scene for students. In the old town, some great student hangouts, but also cute wooden districts and with really colorful character that we even sometimes consider a bit eccentric, but in a good way. And you can go and glide through Tartu with its car-free zones and so on. It's a very welcoming town, with being a hotbed of creative and scientific culture, because it's so full of students, and even graffiti and street art is encouraged by the local authorities. Tartu also has a museum that we call one of our best in Estonia. It's not only noteworthy in architecture, as you can see on the photo, but it has a very dynamic and novel solutions as a content. The innovation is intertwined with history, so you can easily spend the day in Estonian National Museum. We now hop on to a different side of Estonia, from south to the west. Haapsalu is on the coast, only a bit hour from Tallinn. A great place for just a day, but also for the whole weekend. It has characteristic little wooden houses and narrow streets, and even the accommodations and restaurants are small, but really great. And I should say that don't be fooled by the slow living. It still hosts several big festivals and happenings where the whole of Estonia comes together. So why don't you spend the weekend with walking on the seaside promenade and checking out the impressive castle, just opened also refreshed brand new museum. Pärnu is also on the coast, a bit downwards now. So when you combine your packages, for example, with Latvia, so when you come from Latvia to Estonia, you quite probably cross Pärnu as well. And I assure you, it's more than just a coffee break. It is a city with a bit of a bohemian, not bohemian, but surfer vibe, very laid back, summer capital of Estonia with long traditions and long white sandy beaches. And the best would be to take a bike and just ride through the endless coastline trails, or just through the leafy town itself. Now hopping on to a different side again, Peipsi is the fourth biggest lake in Europe. And on one side, it is so big that you can only check the horizon, but on the other side, on the south side, you can wave to the Russian folk. It has colorful cottages and really great pastries, delicious pastries, what they do, and they are good at onion dishes and onion growing. Near Peipsi, there are also old believers who welcome you in their museum-style living, because they've fled from Russia a long time ago and still keep their traditions alive, and it's very different scenery from the rest of Estonia. But Onion Route is a great place, and for those of you who like their simple life, this is what this area could really offer at the crossroads of all those cultures. And Onion Route basically means that it's a group of service providers who've come together and can take you on food tours, offer pop-up cafes, and many other things that make your stay interesting in the area. It's only a 30-minute drive from Tartu, and something for the winter as well. You can take on kick sledging on the lake, or special cars called karakatitsas, and also why not ice fishing with the help of a professional who could also turn this fish into a fish soup right there on the ice. But also the Onion Route has a prize or a giveaway to give out for for the one who answers now the quickest to the question, where is Onion Route located? Is it in East, South, West, or North Estonia? And the one who writes the quickest into the chat, we will be sending an award by post. And traveling is all about escaping, going to someplace different. And even if Estonia is very small, the escape itself is maybe not that big, but the scenery from mainland to island is very different. We have over 2,000 islands, so you can only imagine the different offerings culturally and scenery-wise. The biggest is Saaremaa, also possible to fly there, but it is a great place for stress busting, for wellness hotels, being pampered in there, also not in the season of summer. And they host, again, also several festivals, something for the classical music lovers like opera days, or in the contrary, for the contemporary music lovers, Island Sound is a very popular festival. And also Saaremaa has windmills, they take pride in it, but that's nothing to say to the Dutch, I guess. And Kuressaare, their capital, has in the middle of it, as you can see in the photo, also an impressive castle. In Estonia, Saaremaa is well known for their homebrewed beer and also the smoked fish. But Muhu Island is on the way when you drive from the mainland by ferry half an hour to Saaremaa. You cross Muhu, but you shouldn't just cross it. I suggest you stay a bit because it's a lovely, lovely island with really well kept old villages, fishermen villages, and it's great for any type of small exclusive tours. In really early morning, for example, and even why not do that on horseback. And Saaremaa and Muhumaa together have 9 white guide restaurants, which means that you can really eat well on those 2 islands. But Muhu also has one manor house that has one of the best restaurants in Estonia. It's the whole setting there is really down-to-earth luxury, with a bit of exclusivity attached to it, but not so that you feel yourself like maybe overdoing it, but just relaxing in a really natural surrounding. And there are several islands near Tallinn as well. I won't be staying much on that slide. You can take a closer island with a kayak even, but also there are several others where you can seal spots or military tour and different things, but closer to Tallinn. And one thing perhaps that you also may not expect from Estonia is our cooking and our food experience. I think we do it really well these days. It is a fusion and mixture of different influences that we've had from history, and it is like a melting pot of Russian cooking, from German cooking, from the farming times, and also from the new Scandinavian way. And this is done really properly in the mixture with the grandmother's recipes by the young chefs that have created many new restaurants all around Estonia. And as Estonia is organic by nature, it's easy to have in your dinner the local produce. It's available in many places, plus the recipes for bread. Almost every restaurant has their own and really take pride in it. But here is an example of a farm restaurant, gastronomy farm called Ööviku, only 50 minutes from Tallinn. So a bit of a farm setting with a fine dining, and the host is your chef or vice versa. We also are really proud of being taken into the Big Boys League these days. It is possible to get really Michelin level dining experience in Estonia, and we host, as a matter of fact, next week already, Cooking Olympics of Bocuse d'Or. The 16 European countries who come to compete, the top chefs who compete there. We are really proud that they consider Tallinn and Estonia as their destination. And I would say that food is a good reason to even make your trip longer, to have all these tastes and great dining experiences. Now we are getting back to the center again, so to say, our business card, our gateway. And of course, most certainly when you hear about Estonia, it usually means our medieval old town. And don't get me wrong, it's really well preserved and really cute, but it's not Disneyland, it's used by the locals. So come and hear the stories of the old town. But I would like to take you to other areas in Tallinn just to show how diverse our capital is. One is Telliskivi Creative City. Here on the photo, in an industrial setting, you can find speakeasies, craft beers, great street foods, but their main attraction would be Fotografiska Photo Museum, right in the middle of it, hosting world-class photo exhibitions. And the area is just 10 minutes walk from the old town. You see old town also on the background of the photo. The hotspot of this year is Noblessner area. Used to be a shipyard. You can even come by your own boat if you like, from other harbors of Tallinn, for example. But this is really loved by the locals, those terraces. And as soon as it was possible again, the locals came there to have a good time. It has several great eateries, including one of the Michelin star chef's restaurant, 180 degrees. Then there's an art center called Kai, and for families, great places like Seaplane Harbor and Proto Invention Factory, all in the same area. And it's really renewing itself all the time. I do hope that next year there will be some other surprises to wait. And there's a Baroque side in Tallinn also. It's called the Kadriorgu Palace and Park, founded by Peter the Great for his wife. It's great to combine for those people who really like something physical also in the brackets, like jogging or yoga. Kadriorgu Park is the great place to be then. And it's a very big park right next to Seaside Promenade that was also this year totally renewed and worth the visit also. And several art museums, one of the most famous being Kumu. Not only the content is great, but also the architecture. And to round it all off, there's a bit of a news slide here. On the background, it's Rakvere Vallimäe open air center. The historical building of this castle, this was there already centuries, but now you can also enjoy, in addition the activities in the castle, also the concerts or something like this. And 3 castles in Estonia have made totally brand new museums attached to it, so it gives more of a reason to go. For example, Narva, also Haapsalu and Rakvere. And Tallinn has several new hotel openings, plus Maritime Museum of Pat Margaret Visitor Center. They await the meetings with you afterwards. And there are a couple of things that might happen to you on your first trip. You will have to explain a little bit because nobody really knows so well the destination. The language is something that I could teach you one word. This is terviseks. This will you will master by the end of your trip. This means chin chin, or when you raise your glasses. And nature being all around you means that wherever you are in Estonia, the nearest bog or forest is just 30 minutes away, and you will feel the call. And to bring something waterproof is a good idea. It's no bad weather. It's just in proper clothing, as they say. But when there's a summer storm or the first snowflakes start to fall, it's great to have something that protects you. And here are the destination partners who were keen to listen in and really hoping for your calls and emails afterwards. I put their contacts in the forward emails and websites under that slide, but also you will get an e-catalog after. So feel free, when some region appealed to you more than the other, feel free to take up contact with them. And I've described the prizes, but I won't stay long on this slide. And on the last, in the last part, I would really like to emphasize that when you want to come to a fam trip, just drop me an email, or there is an application link in the slides, in the comments row. So just apply for a fam trip, and as soon as it's possible to travel again and we are able to host you, we will certainly like to do that. So thank you very much for listening. I wish you great meetings afterwards, great conversations, and see you all in Estonia, not too longer time. Thank you.
Thank you, Christina. Also, from Check-in PR, thank you all for joining this presentation, and good luck with the one-on-one meetings for those who have meetings this afternoon. You will receive this presentation, and so you could do all a proper follow-up. Thank you all for your time. Stay safe, healthy.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.